Communication Error.
Welcome to episode 63 of Communication Error Podcast, a gaming debate podcast where we may not always agree. Listen to what one another has to say. Maybe we'll be able to fix our communication error. I'm one of your hosts, Cheesy, and the man who had a very interesting weekend, John Ebo.
Oh,
How you doing? Don't look at me like you don't know.
I did have a very interesting weekend. I will say it's interesting. And I will also say I think your audio like cut out in the very intro, but it kind of works. It kind of works because, you know, communication error.
True, we planned that.
It kind of works. Yeah, it planned.
Yeah.
It's perfect. But yeah, I had a very interesting weekend to say the least. We went to see a show, and it was called The Empire Strips Back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a parody burlesque Star Wars show.
Yeah, this is something that I've seen like advertised a lot on social media, and I kept thinking like, who is gonna go to this? And then I found the person who went to it. So
it was, I mean, it was fun. It was like it's a fun date. It's like a date night. You know, me and Kelsey went in, and there was a lot of people there. It wasn't a big theater, like it wasn't like a Broadway show or anything. It was, I would say like a movie theater, maybe like slightly bigger than a movie theater. But like Kelsey got the tickets and she got the front row. Like we got the front row seats, so we could see all the bits and pieces. We saw everything.
Wow.
Also, like, all right, so we've never seen a burlesque show before. I didn't know what to expect going into it at all, and I know it's probably not like your typical burlesque show because it was like parodying Star Wars, and there are some parts that I will never forget, 100% never forget, and I don't even want to say them on here. It's something, if you like Star Wars and if you have like a good sense of humor and you don't really care about canon, you know, I don't think people that are criticizing the Acolyte are going to be too happy about this show.
Wow, you're telling me this show was not canon?
It was not canon, not canon.
Wow,
that's
disappointing.
It was hilarious. It was very good. It was very funny. They had like what are an MC? I think they called him MC, right? When there's like a host, and it was Lando's nephew Eric.
Okay.
So he wasn't he was related to Lando in some way, but he was just like, he was. I think he was a comedian from like Oakland or something. But he was hosting the show, and it was definitely weird. I don't know if I would say it was good. There were definitely parts. It was like there were some parts. The opening was hilarious. It had to do with the tauntaun, and just think of a tauntaun and burlesque, and I don't know what else. I don't know how else to like.
Yeah,
you have to see it. I think you have to see it for yourself.
Okay. Well, I probably won't, but like it sounds like even if you won't see it again, at least you had the experience.
Yeah, it was an experience. It was an experience. Yeah. I was gonna buy a shirt, but I felt a little awkward because I don't know, the shirts, they were like, you know, Leia in her let's just say her Return of the Jedi outfit with like Empire Strips Back, and I feel like I wouldn't feel comfortable, or like a stormtrooper in a bikini essentially. Like I wouldn't. That's
kind of funny though.
It's funny, but like I don't know if I'm the type of person that would wear like that shirt in public.
But is it just like a stormtrooper with just a bikini on?
Yeah.
Like over the armor? That's funny. I don't know.
No. There's no armor. There's like the helmet, and then it's just the bikini.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, if it was just like the stormtrooper wearing the armor and then a bikini over it,
yeah, that'd be pretty funny. I mean, there was a part with C-3PO. That's just
You saw all of.
Yeah, I saw. A lot of C-3PO.
Okay.
And R2-D2. Right. It was weird. It was weird.
This is a video game podcast for those listeners that are just tuning in for the first time. Well, Johnny, I'm glad that you've had that kind of weekend, I guess. Sorry that is just burned into your memory now.
It is. It was a nice night. It was a nice date night. We went into the city. We ate at a nice Italian place. It was good. It was a good night. It was a nice night.
Nice. Well, you want to do some server maintenance before we get into it?
Well, how was your weekend? I feel like I always talk about my weekend.
I worked, man, and
Oh, that sucks.
no, I've worked, and then I don't know. We didn't really do anything for 4th of July. Our cats were freaking out by
I know.
like 5 p.m.
I know that sucks.
So we were like, we're not going anywhere. So we watched some sports documentaries on Netflix, The Untold. So there was one about like a ref who was like betting against games, just like basically rigging
No,
them.
okay.
And then Hannah never heard of the Manti Te'o story.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, we watched
that.
back when it came out.
That is wild. I mean, I knew that he got catfished, but it was like all the little details that went into it is insane. Just crazy. Oh, and then we watched Neighbors, which Neighbors, I don't know if
I don't know. You
Logan
froze.
and Zac Efron.
You froze for a second.
Going on. Yeah. I know my
Oh no, we are having a
internet is,
communication error.
like, not doing well for some reason.
Yeah, you keep coming in and out.
I don't know. Save the show. I'll be right back. Should we? I don't know what we should do. Show goes on, or
Yeah,
are
show
we,
goes
like,
on.
do you
It goes on. It goes on.
okay. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk about my weekend.
Yeah, I saw Neighbors like I don't know years ago, and then I think we watched the sequel as well. That one had Chloe Moretz in it, I think.
Yeah, Chloe Mortez.
I think it's Moretz. I think you're wrong.
I think it's Mortez. Oh,
I
it could
don't
be
know.
Moretz. Now that I'm thinking about the spelling of it. But anyway, it was interesting because I remember seeing that movie in college, and it's all about, a frat moving into the neighborhood. And so it was like very funny and very relatable. But now we just rewatched it, and it's very upsetting to realize that you're the old people now. That's like trying to keep the noise down, but you want to be cool and bringing a baby into the world. And it's, yeah. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I mean that came out in 2014. I was already out of college, but yeah, so I definitely was already the old people.
Yeah. Oh, you were already the old person?
Yeah.
Loser. I think the connection is better, so we should probably
Okay.
just get into it.
All right. Server maintenance. We have not received a new review on Spotify or Apple in a while. So make sure you leave us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. It helps us out a lot. And we'll read it on the show. And then make sure you check out the Discord. Join the Discord. Check out the Patreon. Follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. And I think that's it. I think that's all the places.
Right on. Okay. Sorry, I'm just making sure my internet is good. We're back. Let's get into it because I think this is going to be a good topic.
Yes, and I think we kind of touched on it in previous episodes a little bit, but not its own like specific topic, and that is video game length. And Cheesy just froze again.
I'm back.
Okay, there you go. Now he's back, but we're talking about video game length, and does length matter? You know. It's a
Whoa.
double entendre. You know,
Wow.
I went to that show, and I'm all
I was gonna say, you learned a lot from that show.
But I mean, I think on previous episodes when we talked about like what makes a game worth like the price that it is, I think I brought up the length of the game. And I know length doesn't equal quality, but I also think it should be a factor in determining if like a game is worth it or not. Because like, I don't know, there are so many games that come out like all the time, and people only have a certain amount of money to put towards games. And if you want somebody to, like, if you play a game that you liked and it was like that you loved, it was 5 hours long, but it's $60, like, would you recommend that over another game that you really enjoyed that is hundreds of hours? I don't think you would.
But it's so hard because like I know that you are someone who wants more game time, and that confuses me because you don't even finish the games that you have.
I want more game time for games that are good. Like, I've been playing Elden Ring a lot. I put like 150 hours into Elden Ring over the course of like 3 different playthroughs, and now the DLC. Like, that's fantastic. That is well worth the $60 plus the $40 for the DLC. But like, I've also been playing Luigi's Mansion 2, and yeah, I could beat that game in 12 hours or 10 hours, but it's boring. It's such a slog. Like, I just got through the 3rd mansion, and I'm like, that was the same thing as the 2nd mansion. Like, this wasn't that exciting. It wasn't that good.
I guess for me, like, just growing up and playing Nintendo games, like, I want games that are kind of short, like, I don't know, that are, let's say, 6 to 12 hours long. And yeah, Breath of the Wild is a great game, and you can play a lot of it, but when it just comes to the story, how long do you think that story is?
It's probably like 25 to 30 hours. Actually, I think 50. I think it's actually 50. I think like how long to beat, if you look at, I don't know, let's see how, we're going to look this up.
Because you can rush through Breath of the Wild pretty easy.
Yeah,
right?
but
like,
I don't think it's as short. I think it's like 50 hours for non-completionist. Let's see, Breath of the Wild.
Because like, I don't know. I'm
50,
okay
main
with
story is 50 and a half hours.
How long is it?
50 and a half.
Yeah, that is it's a good length. But I just feel like people today don't really have that much time to like.
That's a lie.
Play games all the way through. You think that's a lie?
Yeah. I mean, like I don't have kids or anything, but I have so much time at night. It's like I get bored.
So, right. So you're not even finishing the game, which means that
because I don't want see that's the difference is I don't finish games because I don't enjoy playing them, not because they're like I don't want to force myself to play a game.
You must not enjoy playing a lot of games.
I don't. Like I get my fill with them, and then I've said this before. Like I just want a 3D Mario. Like I just want a 3D Mario. I just want a Zelda game. Like I don't. Like some of these games that are coming out, like I know they're going to be 5 hours
Zelda
long.
Game. A literal Zelda game.
Yeah, no, and I'll play through that. I'm excited for a Zelda game. But like Luigi's Mansion 2, like I'm bored of it. I'm bored of it. It's the same thing.
Well, then don't buy it.
Well, I get satisfied. Like I get my satisfaction. Yeah, I don't even know what the word is. Like I play for as long as I want to play for, and then if I don't beat it, that's fine. But I think on Nintendo Powercast I said that I would beat Luigi's Mansion 2 before the next Nintendo Powercast. That's not going to happen because I'm just bored. It's just boring. So I went back to Elden Ring, which I know I enjoy.
But do you enjoy Elden Ring because of the difficulty? Like, is that why the game is so long?
It hasn't. No, it's not. No, I don't think so. Elden Ring, I think it takes about. You could beat it in like 30 hours.
I just feel like today that there
59.
are so many people that complain about how long games are today. Like maybe, yeah, it's fun to play, but if you're not going to see it all the way through, which you're supposed to.
Not supposed to.
Yeah, no, you are supposed to.
No, you're not. That's
are
not how you're supposed to play
They're-
games the way you want to play them. You don't have to
Yes, no.
finish them. You don't
They're-
have to finish them.
You should finish them.
You don't know. You should. You don't have. No.
Look, no, people can play the way that they want to play. I'm not saying that there's a certain way that they should play.
But you're saying that you
But-
should beat it.
Which
you don't have to.
There is a in credit, like there's credits that roll because they expect you to get to the end of the game.
No. I don't
know
agree.
how-
I don't
know
agree
how
with
I'm
that.
wrong on this.
I don't agree with that. Like, I don't like you're making people feel bad for not beating games. That's essentially like you're saying, oh, if you don't beat it, you're doing it wrong.
I'm not saying that I'm making people feel bad. But I mean, I don't know. I guess this is why people have a backlog, is because they just don't want to finish the rest of the games. Then they go and buy a new game, and then they don't finish that
calling it a
game, and then
backlog.
they
It's
buy
not a
new
backlog.
game.
It's a games
is
that
a
you have access
backlog.
to. You have access to. No, backlog makes it feel like it's something that you have to get through. No, it's games that you have access to, that you can play whenever you want.
And how often do you go back to those games?
I actually just went back. I go back to games every so often. Like Elden Ring, technically, I went back to after 2 years.
Come on. You went back to it because of the DLC and because you're a content creator, and that's where the conversation is.
I haven't made any Elden Ring content.
But you went back to it because of the DLC.
Yeah, because it's a fantastic game. Just like if Tears of the Kingdom had DLC, which they stupidly didn't put in, I would go back to Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree. This is interesting though, because Hannah asked me the other day if there's games that I ever like go back to, and that's basically what I said. Is like if there's DLC, I'll revisit it. If there's like a game in the series that's coming out, maybe I'll go and revisit the old one. But like if I've already beat the game that is narrative driven, let's say, because I go back to Splatoon, I go back to Hades, I go back to like games with replay value. But if it's narrative driven, I rarely will go back and play that game because I already did it. And I have so many games that I need to play still that I haven't yet.
Need. You said need. You don't need to do anything.
I don't need to. Okay, so I want to.
Yeah. Say want, not need. Need makes it sound like a job.
I mean, it's a hobby. Like, that is...
But it's not... You don't need to play these games. You don't need to do anything.
You're right. I don't need to do this, this podcast. I don't need to do...
Exactly. You want to. You want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Need, just... There is no need. I don't even know why I said it, but video game length. You brought up Hades. Games like that, yeah. Replayability with good gameplay loops, those are fantastic. Like Hades technically is like 30 minutes long if you want to beat a run.
Yeah, I guess if you just want to do the one.
And even if you even do 10, it's still not that long. I mean, it takes you longer because you fail.
And the difficulty goes up.
Yeah, but if like one run is like 30 minutes, so it's not a long game. It's not like, it's not like Breath of the Wild where you have to take. Well, I guess you don't technically have to. You can go to Ganon right away in Breath of the Wild. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely think games artificially inflate gameplay.
Yeah, you've talked about that before.
Which I think roguelikes are actually guilty of, because that's all it is. They make it harder, so you have to do it more. Mm-hmm. And they also, the more you do it, the more unlocks you get. So you're playing the same content over and over and over again. It's not really new content. You're just replaying it. So it's kind of like, is there that much content? or are you just doing the same stuff over and over again?
Yeah.
Whereas like Ubisoft games, they artificially inflate it by having like all these checklist items on the maps and doing pointless side quests.
I think with just how many games there are today, whether you're beating them or not, it is kind of refreshing to have shorter game length because you know that another game is just around the corner if you are wanting to play that game.
But you're putting the pressure on yourself. Like, why do you have to beat one game before you can play another game? I don't understand that.
That's probably just a me thing, and I'll be honest. Like that's probably on me, but I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. Like I enjoy it, but that's also because I'm not focusing on all the other consoles too. It's just Nintendo because that's the only console I own. So
all right, let's talk about Nintendo games and their game length. Mario Wonder, 5 hours long. That's ridiculous. That should not have been $60. It should not have been $60.
What? I mean, we've already talked about that, so I don't know if we should get into the conversation of if it should cost $60.
Well, I mean, I think it plays into it. Like, Mario Wonder was fun for what it is, but like, it was 5 hours long. How is that acceptable after 10 years of not getting a 2D Mario game? It's same with like all their other, like Kirby's 5 hours long, Yoshi's 5 hours long. The only games that they have that are not 5 hours long are Zelda games.
Would you say though that they have quality?
They do have quality. I just want more of it.
Yeah, that's fair. But I think it's better to have quality than a game that is just buggy or crappy or should have taken more time to develop.
I mean, they could do both. They could do both.
They could do both, but Johnny, you're the one who's always saying
it's going to be
how there's one game per console.
That does suck
in the series.
That does suck. No. So here's the thing. I was just about to mention that because when we get a new 3D Mario, if that game, like Mario Odyssey, I think to beat the main story is only 10 hours. It's super short. If we get another 3D Mario, a new one that comes out and the main story is 10 hours long, that's ridiculous. It's 8 years. 8 years to do that? Get out of here.
So you're saying each year you're wanting it to be even longer and longer and longer?
I think it should be. Like, I think, what are they doing for 8 years?
Making a good game.
Yeah, but if it's only 10 hours long, I don't know. It's frustrating to have to wait 8 years to play 10 hours of gameplay.
10 hours though is like, it is a good amount of time if you're not just like binging through it, right? And I also think that that's kind of how Luigi's Mansion 2 is. Like, yeah, it's not a great game. It's fun, but it's the least of the other two. Like it's not as good. But like the way that the missions are kind of structured, I don't think it's supposed to be binged all at once. You just pick it up and then play it for the time being and then put it down and then you can pick it back up again.
Well, it backfired because it makes me not want to play it because I hate playing for 10 minutes and then it's like, oh, we got to pull you out. It's like, well, I just want to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of wish that they would have done the same thing that they did with Arceus because they do that with Arceus where you just go into the wild. You have like a couple of missions to catch some Pokemon, like 10 Pokemon, and then the professor pulls you back and you have to like talk about something else and it's a long tutorial. But then once you kind of understand what to do, you're just free to roam.
Yeah, that's what they should have done with Luigi Mansion 2. Like maybe the first mansion be the tutorial, and then the second mansion, the rest of the mansions be like, okay, you do what you want.
Because I have 2 missions left, and EGAT is still talking my ear off.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back to try to get the gems that I missed because I don't even know what mission they're in.
Yeah.
It's annoying. I don't know. That game, highly overrated.
So you like to have something that is. What's your average game length that you like to play?
I like 30 hours. I think 30 hours. It's not
30
like
hours.
it's not like a science, but like after 30 hours, but it depends on the game too. Like there are games where I just continue to play and I don't even feel like I'm spending that much time in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like Breath of the Wild, like I probably spent 200 hours in it, but it didn't feel like 200 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like Luigi's Mansion 2, I spent 6 hours in it, and it felt like 25 hours. Not in a good way.
You're so harsh.
It's just the price of games is going up,
Yeah.
but the length of games is not.
For some.
Like
Right,
what
like,
really
how long
annoyed me about Super Mario Bros. Wonder is there's like no replayability. I mean, you collect all the stuff, but you can't like make a second profile. You can't make like a second save file or have a new game plus. Like, how easy is it just to put a new game plus in where they just unclear all the levels, but you get to keep all the badges so you can play through all the levels with the badges?
Mm-hmm.
That's one way From Software games they increase the replayability is they have New Game Plus. Like once you beat the game, you could just go into New Game Plus and keep all your stuff. Maybe you could change up your build, do a completely new playthrough. So you could put hundreds and thousands of hours into that game. For Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I don't know. I guess you can, but I don't know what you would do.
But are we the exception, though? Kind of what I was saying is there's people that take their time with games versus just trying to beat them within a week.
Yeah, but there's like a finite amount of hours you could spend in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Like 10 hours, you beat the game. Well, 10 hours, you probably almost 100% the game. Like that's just not rushing through. That's just playing through the game at any speed. You could beat it over a day. You could beat it over a month, but it's still going to be 10 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how much it takes to beat it. And that being the same price as a game like Elden Ring or Breath of the Wild that have hundreds of hours just doesn't sit right for me. It just doesn't.
So the conversation that kind of, I wouldn't say started all of this, but Metroid Dread, that was a big topic at the time that it was $60 and maybe it was because it was 2D, but like that game, how long is that game? Like 8 hours?
8 hours, yeah. I think I beat it in 8. It's ridiculous.
And, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Oh, so you
Metroid Dread is fantastic. It's a fantastic game, but it's not like these would sit better with me if they were not the same price as other games that have a lot more content and time.
How much did you put into like Starfield?
I only played like 10 hours of that. But I wasn't enjoying it. But that has a ton of content. And I didn't spend any money on that.
Yeah. You didn't spend any money on it? What do you mean?
Well, it's on Game Pass, so I guess technically I paid $15 a month.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I understand. People are not going to agree with me. I know I'm on the wrong side of the fence on this one. I know people are going to say, game length doesn't equal quality. But I just think it adds to to the factor, you should consider it when you like recommend the game or you're thinking about buying games. Like seriously, like if I wasn't fortunate enough to have the means to get whatever game I want, like I would decide on what games would give me the most for my money, the most playtime for my money. And I wouldn't choose Super Mario Bros. Wonder over Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, but I mean that's a totally different game. It depends on
but
what
no,
it is
but just if I knew the facts, the reviews were similar. Like they both had low 9s or they had 9s out of 10s, 10 out of 10. Look at the reviews, see like how long to beat. I would choose Tears of the Kingdom over it any day of the week.
I hear what you're saying, but it's like I don't know. It's such an interesting conversation because I'm not trying to like defend Nintendo, which I know is what it sounds like, but those are the games that I am familiar with. Those are the games that I play and enjoy and get all the way through. But you're saying like you want games that are longer, that have more content, but then you don't. That's the part that is tripping me up is like you don't play through all of the content or all of the hours
I
that it takes
I
to
did
beat
on
that
Super
game.
Mario Bros. Wonder. I have 100% of that game.
And so you must have really enjoyed it.
I liked it, but would I recommend it over Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom? No. Never.
Yeah. Again, it depends on what people are looking for. Those
No,
are
it
two
doesn't.
totally different genres.
They're
What do you
Nintendo
mean?
games. They're Nintendo games.
Very
If you play
different
Nintendo
Nintendo
games,
games.
like no. I would recommend Tears of the
Johnny,
Kingdom.
people have been playing 2D Mario for years. Then you're going to recommend a open world
Yes.
3D Zelda?
I would change their mind because like I would not feel good about recommending a game that they would only get 10 hours out of.
No.
As opposed to, we're talking about game length. We're talking about game length.
You can recommend it. That's fine. You can recommend it, but I also think that it depends on what the person is looking for. Maybe it is that they want to play a 2D platformer versus an open world game.
Then I would recommend an indie game. That would probably have more content.
Or less hours. So now you're just
No, it would probably have
contradicting
more
yourself.
content. It would probably have more hours. Like Celeste. I would recommend Celeste over Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I got Celeste for $2 the other day.
Yeah, it's a good price, but how long is Celeste?
Let's see. It's probably, I mean, they have a ton of DLC too.
It's a very difficult
Eight
game.
and a half
so, like,
hours, 8.5 hours to beat, which is the same as, if not more, than Mario Wonder.
yeah, when it comes to game length, I just thought about something. Like when they say on average it takes 8 hours, how is that decided? Like,
I think
Are
it pulls
they-
from
are they
like
going-
achievements or I don't know. It pulls from something or people put. I think people make an account in here and they enter how long it took them to beat, and then they average it.
so that's like, yeah, okay. So that's people that are going and looking for all the secrets and
Well, no. So there's main story, main plus extra, and completionist. There's 3 different hours. Main story is 8.5. Main plus extra is 14 hours. Completionist is 37.5.
okay.
All right. I'm looking up Super Mario Bros. Wonder, 10 hours main story. Main plus extra, 13 hours. Completionist, 19 hours. Which I think they're stretching it a bit. But still,
Well,
Celeste has more
average.
content. So if you're looking for a 2D platformer, I would recommend Celeste over Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah, Celeste is a great game. You and I both agree on that. It's a very difficult game for those that may not have that skill level.
I would never recommend a Kirby game.
Not even Forgotten Land?
Nope. Spend your $60 somewhere else. Like the way I think about it, if there are like there's Kirby in the Forgotten Land, right?
Yeah.
Which is probably the best Kirby game, which is a very low bar. Then then you have Tears of the Kingdom next to it, and if like somebody just picks up a Switch, like would you recommend Kirby over all of the other games on the system? No.
It's just it's subjective. I don't know.
We're talking about game length.
I know we're talking about game length, but like, do people have time to play?
Doesn't matter. You can spread it out.
Is that not what I have been saying?
Yeah, then like it doesn't matter if a game's longer or shorter. You just spread it out if it's longer.
Podcast is done. The episode's over.
I get that there are good games that are shorter. I understand. I've played a lot of games that are short and good, but I prefer to not pay $60 for a game that is 5 to 10 hours long. Like that is.
So when we go into $70 in the next console.
Oh my God! If Super Mario Bros. Wonder is $70 on Switch too. I mean, well, that was a big thing with Spider-Man 2. Like it was $70, and I think the main story is like 16 hours long, which is longer than Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But people were not happy about that.
What about like how did people respond to the Call of Duty game that had like a 4-hour campaign?
Not happy about it.
Right, but they can still play online. So
no, they can't. Oh, you mean for pay? If they pay the $70, they can. And they can pay. Warzone's free.
I guess I'm confused. They can't play online. What do you mean?
Well, so you get the campaign.
Yeah.
You get the campaign and online multiplayer, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
For the $70. Warzone's free. That's the battle royale.
Uh-huh.
So you have to pay. But people were not happy about Call of Duty being $70 in a 4-hour campaign.
Yeah. No, I get that. Is it okay? So is that something that changes the formula too? Is like if you're used to playing a series and then they chop it down, that's gonna make you upset.
I mean, well, I think Call of Duty has always had fairly short campaigns. Like I don't think they've ever been that long. It's just hard. It's getting to a point now. Games are $70. I think this coincides with value so much, and people can't afford multiple $70 games. Mm-hmm. So like, what are you gonna put your money? What are you gonna spend your money on? That are you gonna seriously like? Would you spend your money on a game that you heard is only 5 to 10 hours long, or a game that you could get hundreds of hours out of?
I don't know. Like, I think I'm kind of the minority in this. Because I love watching movies. I love watching TV shows. And part of that is, like, I don't have to control the narrative. That's a big part of it, is, like, it's 2 hours long. Maybe it's a 30-minute to hour long episode. But with a game that is, like, 30 hours long, that's a lot of time that you're putting into it. And maybe, let's say on average, people can only put in like 2 hours a night, maybe. Like everybody's schedules are completely different.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I'm not saying that people aren't busy. But I mean, I think 2 hours a night for a game is actually pretty much. Like, I don't know if the last time I spent like more than 4 hours is probably the most. I mean, I think Tears of the Kingdom I played all throughout the night, but I even needed to take breaks. Like it's hard to play games for that long. So 2 hours if you can find 2 hours a night, an hour a night, like you could get through a story driven game in like a month and a half. That's what I did with Spider-Man. Like I played it a couple hours a night, got through it within like 2 months. The games that I enjoy are the ones that I do not really have a narrative that I care about. Like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, I don't care about the story. Elden Ring, I mean, there's lore. I don't care about the story. I don't care. Like I just like fighting big bosses and finding cool stuff. And you could get a game for $5 that you spend hours and hours and hours on, and that's Vampire Survivors.
Yeah.
And my most played game this year is Balatro. That doesn't have a story or anything. That technically, like, you beat a run in like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But I guess game length really does kind of relate to like narrative, linear driven games, or games that just have like I wouldn't consider roguelikes, like I don't even know how you judge their game length.
Right. So yeah, that's a good pull up Hades and see how long on average does it take to beat Hades. Because that's kind of where I'm going, is like this is all narrative driven. If you're someone who like really cares about the series, if you're a big Zelda fan, you probably do want to know about the story and know what's going on and all the world building that they're doing, all the different side quests. And it's going to take a long time. And yeah, it's a very enjoyable game. So if that is your the game that you want to play, it's going to be great.
It says 23 hours for main story, which I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means
Probably just the 10 runs.
Doing the 10 runs, but then there's main plus extras of 48.5 hours, and then completionist is 95 hours. So I don't know. I mean, completionist would just be collecting everything.
Yeah, I definitely have put in more than 95 hours. And that's also just everybody's experience is going to be different.
Yeah, so Luigi's Mansion 2 is 14 hours main story. Main plus extra is 18 hours, and completionist is 29 hours.
So, I mean, does that change your mind at all on the length? Not so much the game itself, but just the video game length.
I still think it's short. 14 hours
is short?
Yeah, I think it's short.
For a Nintendo game?
For any game.
That's a long time, man.
No, it's not.
14 hours?
That's not long. I do tax returns that take me longer than that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks.
I'm seeing Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah, I think Nintendo is a big culprit of having way too short of games.
But they're also for kids, right? So maybe that is a good
But they
thing.
know their audience isn't just kids.
A lot of their games are...
Main story, 12.5 hours. So Super Mario Odyssey is actually shorter than Luigi's Mansion 2.
Oh boy, we just gave him a TikTok idea.
No, I don't know. I just think they're too short. I think they're too short, at least to do the main story. I think I spent like 55 hours 100%ing Super Mario Odyssey, and that wasn't even that fun near the end because you have to grind out a bunch of coins. So that was like 5 hours of just grinding coins. That's not fun. But let's see, Last of Us. Okay, Last of Us Part 1 is 14.5 hours, so that's about the same length as Luigi's Mansion 2. Then Last of Us 2 is 24 hours. See, they bumped it up.
So then, what is Luigi's Mansion 3?
It was about the same. It was like 14 hours.
Oh, okay.
20 hours for God of War. God of War Ragnarok's 26 and a half. PlayStation, they got it. They got it figured out.
Well, a lot of it is also just like cutscenes, right? Like that's gonna add to the game.
Yeah, I wish this would show without cutscenes. Here, Horizon Zero Dawn's over 20 hours. Nintendo's making short games.
It is. I'm just like curious as to how many people actually finish games, or if they just move on because they're bored, or they move on because it's taking way too long to finish, or they move on because the next game is out.
I mean, I'm sure. I think we're in the minority of that. Like, I think the general public, they don't really do that.
I don't know. Are they playing the general public? Are they playing narrative-driven games?
Yeah, because like other than that, who else is playing them?
Us?
Yeah, but like the way I view it is the general public. Like they would be watching people stream it if the general public was playing was not, or if we were the only ones playing narrative-driven games. There are 30 million copies sold of Breath of the Wild out there, and nobody's watching somebody stream it. So I think it's mostly non-hardcore gamers.
It's hard to tell, man. It's just hard to tell because we're in a completely different bubble, I guess, than what some gamers might be. Like if we got somebody on the show that we don't even know, maybe they're not even in the like gaming space, but they play games on occasion, it'd be interesting to hear what it is that they play, how long they play the games.
So one of my coworkers, I was talking to him a little bit, and I asked him because I thought he told me that he was playing Elden Ring at one point. So I asked him like if he got the DLC, and he's like, "Oh no, I never actually got Elden Ring. I looked it up to see if it was on the Switch, and it isn't. So he didn't get it."
Yeah, bummer.
It's like, oh man. So like, yeah, the casual people out there are playing on the Nintendo Switch, but they can't play Elden Ring yet until Switch 2 comes out.
You think that will happen?
Oh, 100%.
Will it be good?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I've been playing on the Steam Deck. Works fine on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people are not gonna be happy with me about this one. I'm kind of sick of the 5-hour, 10-hour experiences. Like Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I think I beat it that night, and I'm like, oh, that was
You
cool.
beat it that night?
Yeah, I rolled the credits the day that day. It's like, oh, that's cool. I wish I had more. Like Nintendo games, I do enjoy Nintendo games for the most part. I do try to beat them. At least Mario and Zelda, and I beat Kirby. But they're just way too short. And I just hope with these long gaps in between releases, like the next 3D Mario better not be 10 hours long.
I know people or you think that people are going to be upset with you. I think people are going to be upset with me because I do have the habit of beating games, and maybe that is not for everyone. And I again don't know if that's just because maybe the games are too long, or because they just move on, and I'm the problem that has to beat a game before I can move on. Like I don't know, I just like seeing something to the end. It's basically just Mario, you know. I know I have to get to the flagpole, so I just keep playing the game. Whatever game it is, I'm gonna get to the flagpole.
Yeah, I mean, I felt that way for like Luigi's Mansion 2. I keep bringing it up because it's fresh in my mind because I've been playing it.
Yeah.
I felt that way. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just beat it. I'm just gonna beat it. And then I got to the boss of the third mansion, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. This is not a clever boss at all.
I don't remember what was that boss.
It's a clock.
Oh, I thought it was a little clever, but like it was different from the other two bosses.
Oh, and it also like having to follow the Polterpup around. That goes on way too long.
Yeah.
And the staircase that was way too long. It's just dragging on. And that game's not that long. It just feels like a drag.
14 hours long.
Yeah, and it feels like 400 hours.
Well, that's exactly what you want.
No, I feel like there is a good middle ground. And games are either too short or too long. Like, I also like playing RPGs, but they're too long. Like, I don't want to spend 80, 90 hours in a JRPG.
We haven't brought up RPGs at all, and there's a ton of people that play RPGs, and I'm pretty sure they play them to the end because they get what they wanted out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there are... I tried to play Xenoblade 3. I got like 10 hours in. I'm like, okay, I understand. I get the loop. But then I just stopped playing it, and now I don't want to go back to it. Because I'm like, it's overwhelming. That somebody says, oh, it's 80 hours to beat the game. It's like, I don't want to spend 80 hours. I don't want to spend 10 hours. I don't want to spend 80 hours. I want to spend like 25 to 30 hours. That's like the perfect sweet spot there.
Luigi's Mansion 2, isn't that what you just said?
No, that's 14 hours.
Isn't that what you just said? Yo,
that's 14 hours.
If you want to complete it.
But I don't want to because that means going back and doing the missions again, and that sounds awful to me.
You want replayability. I don't know. I don't get
good.
You, man.
Like, the gameplay loop has to be good. If the game is short, the gameplay loop has to be good. And Luigi's Mansion 2 is just the same thing. It's just the same thing. The puzzles aren't clever. Like, and it's the same puzzles every level.
Would you have gone back just with Super Mario World or not Super Mario World? That's such a good game.
Wonder.
Yeah, Wonder. Would you have gone back if like some levels you had to play as a Goomba to get through the whole level? Like, is that enough?
Yes. Like the ones that the special levels that they had like that where you played as a Goomba or, you know, like the badge challenge levels.
Yeah.
They had like one for each badge, and some of the badges didn't even have a level. So why didn't they just add more of those levels? Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the gameplay of Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That's why I 100%ed it. But I just wanted more. I just want more. Yeah, I don't know what my point is. I think my point is games should be 30 hours long, 25 to 30 hours long.
With good quality, and they have to be fun.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's pretty much an unwritten... I mean, what? You don't want to play you want to play an unfun game for 30 hours?
I want to play a fun game, but some of the fun games that I play are short.
Yeah, but they're too short. They're too short.
But they're still fun.
I don't know, like I want to play Super, and there's like I want to go back to play Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but there's no extra save file, so there's no point of doing it.
Yeah,
and I don't want to just play on a different profile. Like, that's dumb.
So, let's try to like take this in different directions. Do you think that game length has gotten better since, I don't know, like Super NES and 64? Is it staying kind of the same length?
Well,
obviously, when
they're definitely longer now. They're definitely longer now. Like, I get that, and I understand that people are going to say that back in my day, the games were only 2 hours long, but then they
Or they were
artificially
like 30 seconds, and then you had to put in another quarter.
they artificially increase the difficulty to make it seem longer, like a lot of the old games, like on an NES and everything. But I just looked up Super Mario 64. Its main story is 12 hours, so it's still about the same length as Super Mario Odyssey. The completionist is only 20 hours.
Only? I thought that was a good length for you.
No, I'm just compared to Super Mario Odyssey, which was like 55. Hold on. Now I'm looking them all up. But like one of the best games ever made is Super Mario Bros. 3, and that's only like a 3-hour game.
And that is one of your favorite Marios.
It is. It's 5 hours.
That does.
5 hours.
Okay, so it's 5 hours. Doesn't really have a lot of
that
content.
doesn't. No, that's nostalgia. Like, of course I enjoy that game, but that's nostalgia. Like, if that game came out now for $60, I would complain about that.
No, I mean, you probably would, yeah. But then Super Mario Bros. 3 would not be your favorite. So if they bring it back out, let's just say Super Mario Bros. 3 is being released in HD 2D.
That'd be awesome.
But it's still the same length. Doesn't add content. Are you still playing it? Are you still enjoying it?
I'm still playing it. I'm not complaining. No, I'm still playing it. I'll complain about it though.
You don't think nostalgia will hit you?
I mean, it will.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be awesome. They would never do it, but that would be awesome. And yeah. So it would be. I don't understand. I mean, I'm not a game developer, but I don't understand why 2D Mario is so short. Like, why they can't just have more levels. They waited like 12 years or 13, however long, 10 years.
Well, how many levels are in Wonder?
I don't know.
Like over 80, isn't it?
So if hold on, I'm looking it up. 152 levels. I don't even know how they come up with that. So it says there are a total of 152 levels, but only 69, nice, of them are regular main story levels.
So they're probably not counting like the boss fights or the.
They're not counting like the bad challenges, the special worlds.
Yeah, the find the coins.
Yeah, KO areas. I will say I do like about Luigi's Mansion 2, the little challenge areas. I like those.
Oh yeah, and they're hidden.
Yeah. I get it. I understand that part of it. I just let me explore. Like, don't take me out, Toad. Or not Toad, Egad.
Egad, yeah.
But yeah,
it always just feels wrong. Like he's just like always messaging, being like, "Hey, you up?" It's like, dude, leave me alone.
Do you see those ghosts that just took the thing that was right in front of your face? You see those ghosts take it? You see where they went through the wall that you just looked at?
I know Luigi doesn't have like the most confidence, but I'm pretty sure he's able to figure out that a ghost just ran off with something and he has to go and catch up with it.
So I looked at my playtime for the Elden Ring game that I have on Steam right now, which is my second playthrough, and I have 60 hours into it right now. On PlayStation, I have like 100 hours into that character. I don't know, it's just so satisfying. Like that gameplay loop, if I could just play Elden Ring and Zelda games and Mario games, like if they would just release, dude, Mario should have annual releases if they're going to be 5 hours long.
Disagree. The quality that we would be getting,
we don't know
would
that.
Be terrible, dude. I mean, you're saying
they could just put another team. No, they can do what Call of Duty does. They have 3 teams working on Call of Duty. They have, it's like a 3-year cycle essentially. At least that's how they used to do it. I don't know if that's how they do it now. Where one team would release a game 1 year, then the next team will release. They did it with this new Super Mario Bros. Series. They had like the B team release New Super Mario Bros. 2 on 3DS, and then New Super Mario Bros. U was made by the A team like that same year. They should just do that. Like, don't make me wait 8 years for a 3D Mario.
They probably had more people working on those games because both were for.
Like, don't you get annoyed that Nintendo only releases like one game in the series a generation for the most part?
I mean,
like I could understand for the ones that they could add content to or are like a platform like Mario Kart, Smash Brothers, you know, even Animal Crossing, the ones that are a platform, like that makes sense, but a linear experience or like a story driven experience, why aren't we getting more than one a generation? Like Mario and, well, Zelda, usually we only get one, but now it's different. But I guess it's just Mario.
Maybe Switch 2 will be different and they will release more in the series, but I have a feeling the Switch success totally caught them off guard. Like maybe there's
we didn't get a Donkey Kong game.
Well, that's because of retro.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody else could have worked on a Donkey Kong game.
Yeah, but maybe they don't want anybody else working on a Donkey Kong game because they know retro would put out a good game.
Yeah, but they didn't know that retro was going to put out a good game before they gave it to them with Returns.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, because it was Rare at first, and then when Rare went to Microsoft, it went to Retro.
Huh.
And we're getting Returns again for guess how much? $60.
I wish that was the title.
Yeah, Returns again. That actually would be good. That'd be good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know, with the I don't know, like what team made Wonder?
Probably in-house, right?
Yeah, but did they make like something? I don't know what. Who made it? I don't like how Nintendo does this. They never tell you what team makes stuff.
I kind of get it. I understand why they've been doing that because they just don't want their developers to get harassed. At the same time, it feels a little weird that you're not like celebrating your developers until the end credits, which in this case, if you're not even playing till the end, you don't even get to see who made the game.
Yeah, maybe that's their trick. They want people to play their games so bad that they don't tell you until the credits.
And then, you know, it's a 5-hour experience, so you should be able to beat it.
Oh, now I can't even remember the other games, the other IP that they have.
Nintendo?
Yeah.
Like Splatoon? Pikmin
4.
3 was
Let's
great.
see. Pikmin 4 I thought was. I think Pikmin 4 had a good length of main story. Like before you roll credits, I thought that was a very good length. This says 17 hours. I could see that. 17 hours. I think that was enough for that game. And then there's a whole other, which I haven't gone back to, but there's a whole other like story to it. Mm-hmm. But 17 hours, I'll give them a pass because all their other games are 5.
God.
Let's see, Pikmin 3. Pikmin 3, I think it was short. 13
Pikmin 3.
13
yeah,
hours.
I remember Pikmin 3 being short, and that was like my first
somehow.
Pikmin game, and I really, really enjoyed it. But then when you get to that final boss, you're like, oh, it's over. I thought like we were still just in the middle of it.
I do think like you brought up older games, and those games were definitely shorter than they are now. And I don't know how I would have felt back then. I don't know. Like I
could tell you. You would hate them. You would complain about them. N64 games are trash, everybody.
I mean, they are trash.
Just so you know.
So I'm looking. All right. So I'm looking at my. I have NES or Super Nintendo games here next to me. I have the Donkey Kong Country games. I don't know how long they were. The Lion King games. But I mean, I don't think I thought about it because I would only get a game, Christmas and birthdays.
Yeah. So, yeah, money is important, obviously. Like, that is how you buy the game, and maybe you don't have the money to spend at that time. Let's take money out of it, though, because you brought up a good point. Like, you didn't even think about it. Is that the way that it should be? Is if you're having fun, no matter what the game length is?
It should. Yes, I agree with that. If money was no object, it shouldn't matter. But I feel like every time I talk about a game, I'm pretty sure I said this when Wonder came out. Like I said, I loved the game, but it was too short. I think you have to put like an asterisk on it now. But I do think it should be. It doesn't matter how long a game is if you're enjoying it. Like, the length shouldn't matter. But when you consider other factors, I think you have to consider it as a factor.
Because of what, hour and a half to get to that point?
Yeah. That's the whole point of this. No, it's only been an hour and 7 minutes, and you were gone for
nice.
like 6 minutes.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. But, no, I mean, I'm very curious to hear what everyone has to say about this topic, because I don't know if we are the minority, if people see it my way, if people see it your way, if there's different reasons for why people finish games, why they don't finish games. And yeah, we've kind of talked about this topic before in many different ways, but just game length in general, is that a big selling point for you?
I know on Twitter or X, it's a big topic. I'm interested to hear what Thunderstash has to say, who's going to be our guest next week.
Yeah, because he's been doing a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, he's been playing. He's doing a series right now where he's playing old games to see if they hold up in 2024 eyes. And I watched his video. He was playing Punch Out, and the video is only like 25 minutes long. I know he probably edited stuff out, but he was able to get to Mike Tyson, which is like the final fight in that game, within that 25 minutes. So that game is definitely not long, but I do believe the way, like, I'm sure he spent a ton of time, like either now or when he was growing up, to learn that game. And I think that's what we did back in the day when we only had a game or two. We would just really learn that game. Like, we would become the best that we can be.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that we have to play until our next holiday or birthday.
Yeah, and maybe Mario Wonder is different for us because we have played many Mario games before, so we kind of know where the developers are going to put things or how they have the level design. And like, yeah, there were still things that were very fun and surprising, but this could have been a lot of people's first Mario game, and they probably really enjoyed it, even if it was 5 hours long, and for them to figure out how all of it works.
And there are ways you can extend that playtime. Like, it has the co-op,
which I don't recommend. I don't recommend.
Yeah, well, I mean, it has it.
Yeah, it does have it.
So that could add more time. You could do you could learn speed running. You could play through the levels with different badges. I just wish there was. I'm thinking of Super Mario 3D World, which I think has a lot of content.
Yes.
And like, that game had a lot of replayability because you had stamps, and in order to get all the stamps, you had to beat all the levels with every character. And then they had like, Champions Road, and I think 3D World. Like, I would recommend 3D World and Bowser's Fury over Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
Yeah. But 3D World by itself, and you mentioning how you have to beat the game with every character to get all of the stamps, like, is that good content if it's just the same but with a different character?
It's like it's artificial.
Yeah.
Like it's adding time artificial. I don't think I ever got all the stamps. I know that was a thing. I know I got all the like green stars, gold flagpoles, and whatever the collectibles were as outside of the all the stamps. Now I want to go back and play it.
Didn't you play it pretty recently?
I did when the movie came out. I went back and I beat it. I didn't do like the extra levels.
Yeah.
But I beat that game. I beat it. I beat Mario and Zelda games, all right? Those are the only games I beat. And From Software games. But other than that, I don't remember the last game I beat.
You did beat Pikmin 4.
Oh, that's true. I rolled credits on that. People will probably say no because I didn't do the extra quest. But, I beat Metroid Dread. I did beat that. I do like Metroid games.
Yeah. That has a lot of content. Well, I don't know if it's content. It's just
You know what it is?
backtracking.
It's unlocking things. Like I'm just like I get satisfied unlocking things. Like when I find a missile expansion, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then and it's the same with like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And you can find a chest and you unlock like new armor. It's like, oh, that's satisfying. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I like. I don't really care about the story. It's more so like building my character, like upgrading my character.
That's fair. And I guess like for Luigi's Mansion 2, since you've been talking about it so much, there's not a ton that you like upgrade with your character. You
upgrade your flashlight and your
vacuum.
Your strobe, yeah.
But that's about it. Like you can go into rooms and find collectibles.
I haven't done any of the Boo missions yet. I have a couple. No, I haven't. I haven't done them yet. I've collected. I have some of them unlocked, but I haven't done them yet. I don't know if the gems unlock anything. Like if you collect all the gems,
or if you collect all the boos. I have no idea. I haven't looked it up.
I know boos. Well, for the boos, you unlock an extra level if you get them all in that mansion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I got them all. I think. Oh, actually, it was probably the second mansion, because the first one you would have to go back and play. And then I think I missed one in the third one. But yeah, you unlock a new level. I don't know. Maybe I'll come around to it. I'll warm up to it.
Just is going to take some time, and you'll go back and play it a few years from now.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, you know what? It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, like Skyward Sword.
A bunch of people telling me that it's a bad game. I can make my own opinion and be the outlier.
I'm the outlier right now. That game is getting decent reviews. I don't think it deserves 8 out of 10.
I mean, I don't think it's a great game. And EGAD talks way too much, but I'm still having fun with it.
I have fun when they let me play, when I actually can play.
Yeah. So, in general, look, I think we're getting a little off topic.
Yeah.
Gameplay should just be, if it's fun, or the game length, it shouldn't matter if it's fun.
Yeah, my closing thought is game length doesn't equate to quality, but it should be a factor in value.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
That's all I got. Did you freeze again?
Johnny,
I thought you froze.
where can people find you? Yeah, I probably did. I don't know what's going on tonight. But where can people find you, Johnny?
I'm Johnny Bo everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the Nintendo Powercast. And I think I actually probably be streaming on Twitch this Friday. Or maybe be playing some Nintendo Switch Sports basketball and NBA 2K24 because it's only $6 on the eShop right now.
How long do you think you'll play that game for?
That night is going to be that night. I'm not going to play it ever again.
Yeah, on Switch, it's probably a mess.
But where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast, CheezyC64, CheezyC64. Johnny, close us out.
I will never see the Emperor the same way again. I'm gonna leave it at that.